Hello and welcome to another video here on DAX Wednesdays. In this video, we're going to have a look at two DAX functions called related and related table. These two DAX functions belong to the relationship family of DAX functions. Let's switch to Power BI for the demonstration. In this Power BI report, we are using a data set which has two tables, catalog and cost sheet. I've already created two table visuals over here with all the columns. The catalog table has a yellow background, whereas the cost sheet has a blue background. Now, back in the day, I used to watch a lot of Fast and Furious movies. I was a big fan of Paul Walker. Now, just imagine that you are part of the production team of the first Fast and Furious movie, which came out in 2001 or 2002. I believe it was 2001. And the director, or should I say the assistant director, tells you that, all right, we need few cars for our stunts in the movie. So you approach, let's say, a dealer of the various cars, and he gives you this catalog where you have the different vehicles and the price of those vehicles, either for sale or to rent. So, for instance, an Acura will cost us around $20,000, a Dodge Charger 40,000, and so on. So, this is the catalog table that only has one row per vehicle. And the second table is the cost sheet, in which we put in several orders of different vehicles that were used as used for stunts in the movie. First of all, we had to approve them from the production team, so we don't go beyond our budget for the movie. So on the 1st of January, we put in an order of one Supra, which cost us 25,000. 2nd of January, 3 Acuras. We also placed another order of Supras, of 2 Supras on 2nd of January, and so on. Now these two tables will do have a relationship between them. We can have a look at that once we switch to model view. The relationship is on the column name, vehicle name. It has a one-to-many relationship with the catalog table on the one side, whereas the cost sheet will have several references to different cars in the catalog table. Cost sheet is on the many side of that relationship. Now coming back to our report view, let's imagine that the production team needs another column to be displayed in the cost sheet table where we can have a look at the price per vehicle. So as we have the VLOOKUP in Excel, we can use a DAX function called related, where, for instance, can put in, let's say, a new column. So we'll be putting a new column in the cost sheet table. We're calling it price per vehicle, let's say PPV, type in related. Now Power BI will prompt us with arguments that we can put in, that we can use in our related DAX functions. So the related DAX function takes in the column name as an argument. Now, since we need to get the corresponding price per vehicle from the catalog table, which is on the one side of the relationship, we'll select price per vehicle and say, okay, I will add price per vehicle. And now you can see this DAX function related has returned to us the price per vehicle for the equivalent vehicle names. Now you can see in the cost sheet, we have two rows where we have Supras, and that's provided us the equivalent price per vehicle for both these rows. Now let's say what happens if I were to add a column on the other side of the relationship. Now we added this column to the many side of the relationship. Let's see what happens if we were to add it on the one side of the relationship, which is the catalog table. I'll click on this table and say new column. Let's try, for instance, cost. Type in related. Now you see this time Power BI is not prompting us with any column names that we can put in as an argument for the related DAX function. Why is that? Because the related DAX function only works on the many side of the relationship. If I had to go back to the model view, catalog is on the one side of the relationship. It doesn't let us use the related DAX function to procure values from the many side, but we were able to find the price per vehicle on the cost sheet side, which is on the many side. So this is a constraint for the related DAX function. Another thing, now what happens if I were to click on this relationship and make it inactive by unchecking this box? I'll save it. Now if we were to go back to the cost sheet in which we were able to put in another column of price per vehicle, you'll see there's an error. Although we had used the related DAX function, this is because related DAX function only works on active relationships. So This is the second constraint. The first being the related DAX function can only be used on the many side of the relationship, and that relationship needs to be active in order to get the result. I'll go back to model view and check this box to make this relationship active again. So what we can do to get this cost column in the catalog table? Yes, you guessed it right. This is where we are going to use the second DAX function, which is related table. I'm going to change the related DAX function to related table. If you remember, the related DAX function was not working for our catalog table, so we'll be using related table now. Related table takes in one argument again, in which we need to provide the table name. So this time we're going to choose the cost sheet table, which is on the many side of the relationship. Now let's see what happens if I were to say OK. Once again, Power BI is showing us an error. Why is that? Because related table doesn't return us a column, but it returns to us an entire table. When we talk about columns, we need to have a scalar value. An entire table cannot provide us a scalar value. So we need to keep that in mind. But in this case, what we can do is we can use, let's say, another DAX function in which we can use a related table to filter the cost sheet table. We'll use the sum x DAX function. I have already created video tutorial on SumX. You can watch that video by clicking on the link on the top right here. So the SumX for the first argument will take in the related table as the first argument. Next up, it's asking us an expression. So this time around, we only need to put in the cost column from the second table, which is the cost sheet, and say OK. You see, Power BI has returned us no errors. I will add this column to our table visual. Now you will see it has returned to us the total cost of the different vehicles that we had purchased during the production. Now what exactly happens with this SumX DAX function is, first of all, the related table changes the context in which the data is filtered, and it evaluates the expression in the new context that you specify. So first of all, the related table will filter the table based on wherever we find Acura in the cost sheet table, find the equivalent cost of that table, save in its memory. Then it will move to the charger row, go in its cost column, save that value, and then it will move to the skyline. Since we do not have an equivalent row with skyline as the vehicle name, it has written nothing over here. And for the Supra, it has gone through all the rows where it finds Supra. It has filtered the cost sheet where we have Supra as a vehicle name, and where we have two rows over here, 1 and 3. So it has made an addition of 25,000 and 50,000 to provide us 75,000. So this is an interesting way in which you can use the related table DAX function. Not only that, I can use it to, let's say, find out the quantity of vehicles that bought during production. So let's put in the quantity. We'll type in SumX this time, one more time, related table, choose cost sheet, close the bracket, and this time around the expression, the second part of the SumX argument, will use the quantity column name, close the bracket, and add this column now to our table visual. So see, it has returned to us with the same logic the number of Acuras or number of chargers that we ordered in the cost sheet. So always remember that the related table will first of all change the context. So essentially, SumX has found out 4 different tables where we have the vehicle names of Acura, Charger, Skyline, and Supra. It has applied the SumX logic to the quantity values for each of these 4 tables, and then it has returned us these values where we get an equivalent number of vehicles that were ordered during the production of the Fast and Furious movies. So that's all for this video on related and related table. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this video. Do not forget to like and subscribe. I will see you in the next video.